next Sietch Ramshackle song.
No, I don't fuck with clones, man. Clones scare me.
Oh, they used to not scare me, but the notion of having something out there that has my DNA acting of its own free will, and then doing some shit that, like, I would never think I'd have in me.
Clones should just be changed to scapegoats. It's like they should change the name of clone, because I just don't like the idea that I could have an entire first world superpower and not know if their army is made up of people who are just dispensable or disposable. You know, like, I don't like the idea that, like, I'm looking at somebody and, like, they could say they're heroes. You know, look at these gigantic pectoral bicep alpha male pure Americans, but really they're just selling us the same shit that Coca-Cola sells us, and they're just shit out of vats. Yeah, that's why I love Frank Herbert so much with the Zottle tanks and Dune. You know, they could just shit out anything they wanted and call it a hero. You know,
we're maybe in a fantastical way getting there with AI in a sense. Speaking of,
so anyway, test, Mark, boom. So how about we do this, Sam O'Grady? Thanks for coming over and doing this with me.
Sietch, there aren't that many people I would go out of my way to do this with, so by all means.
Well, the fact that you said that, I'll just retort, and I will say there's not many people that I would actually be pleased that would do this for, because I think that your understanding, knowledge, and appreciation, nay, love or adoration of the artistic spirit and world. I was listening to Mile Marker and Ithaca the other day, and it just dawned on me how much we've recently been collabing, and how much you have, I mean, just fucking dominated the tasks of the songs. And especially in Mile Marker, I was just listening to what you produced over that, and I thought, Jesus, man, this guy's one of the primes.
My attitude, I mean, thank you so much. My attitude is, like, if someone is cooking up something good, so to speak, and they're saying, hey, Sam, I need you to add some technique or add your own shit to this, I'm like, well, if it's that good, I better whip out the big guns.
And it's so nice because it's never just been kind of like, oh, Sietch said this is what he was going for, so I'm just going to sort of produce a square. You know, you sort of like got feedback and then went into sacred geometry. So
no, all I can say is if it's for my friends, I will always do my best.
There you go.
Let me grab the
Chaim, Yamas, and Nostrovia and all this good stuff.
Right back at you.
So what are we doing here? Why are we on video? I forget.
Well, we're on video because I'm very interested in talking to you about this new song you have, Prime Plus.
Yes.
Coming out soon.
Yes. Hello, camera. I find that when you have an interview, you always... Yeah, anyway.
Gotta
address the audience from time to time. Hello, people.
I know you.
So Prime
I know
Plus.
everything about you. So Prime Plus. Very interested in... Right out the gate, just from what you have shown me, thing I guess I want to talk about, like, the immediate thing, your use of AI for music video.
I knew that'd be the first you'd touch on.
And reason why, I think you and I are of a similar artistic, philosophical standpoint, nature, whatever the hell you want to call it. But
an abhorrence of something that is not genuinely human.
We are believers that art should be made first and foremost by humans.
Absolutely. Like the rice comes out of the patty and the corn comes off the cob.
Fully agreed. Fully agreed. So your use of AI, I'm curious, knowing that about you, I'm curious about the choice.
Especially since I released a song about 3 songs ago called AI Rise, which is all about the perils of
AI rising.
So, thank you for being the interviewer for this, because I knew you'd hit on that. It's intentional, obviously. And the reason is because I've heard so much shit about AI. I've heard it from the people pushing AI for their pockets. I've heard it from artists saying, hey, it makes life easier. I've heard it's going to end the world. I heard it's going to make HR departments, you know, the thing of the past, whatever. I mean, so I was sitting there and I was thinking, what is the point? Okay. I mean, there's this new creature, okay, and it wasn't found by Darwin, and it wasn't found by some, you know, loser in a cave somewhere in the Amazon or whatever. It was intentionally created.
Like billionaire lab created.
You know, God humans built. You know, father son. Yep. And I was tired of being angry at it, and I was also tired of being uncertain about it. And so I approached AI in this video, and I utilized it for this reason and this reason alone, Sammy boy. I didn't use it to create something, and I didn't use it to manipulate a new technology. I consciously chose to flip the script and introduce myself to AI. All we hear is how AI is coming at us. AI is coming at us like a semi coming down the wrong way of the highway. And I said, fuck him and fuck all that. I'm going to introduce myself to AI. You fucking deal with me, AI. Okay? And that was my way, kind of like a lot of people have their torturous progression towards accepting God or their family traumas and stuff. I said, all right, here's this thing. I can ignore it. Okay? Just like I've tried to ignore politics, just like I've tried to ignore salesmen and, the garbage of life. So everything in the video was created by me. Every image, every video are performances of me playing me, Sietch, the sovereign I, the only me, the only thing that I know for a certainty exists truthfully in the universe, including you.
Wrapping AI around yourself and like your creations and your...
Sort of, but I would change the term wrapping around to thrusting it at AI. Coming right at it. It's like this is my mind. You're generating thousands and septillions of things on the internet, and you're doing your wild stuff. It's like when you see the AI stuff just going through all these variables, like some schizophrenic artist, or some schizophrenic in a lunatic asylum. The guy that's you're talking to about pizza, and the next thing you know, they're talking about Kennedy. That's how I see this AI generation, and I was like, all right, schizophrenic. All right, horribly traumatized child who has been born into blackness by uncaring parents and nobody said it's okay, I'm here for you. I'm just going to generate you and you're going to have to deal with everything that's ever occurred instantaneously. You poor fucking child, right? I said, here's me and here's how I've dealt with it and I'm going to do it with an image.
I see.
This is an image that I created that made me say, okay, every variable for this particular thing that's driving me insane is now computed and presented and out of me. What do you think of it? And lastly, it was very much like playing music to an audience. I said, okay, audience, AI, this is my performance to you. This is my piece of art. It is solely mine. I drew it. I filmed it.
And now the AI is sort of taking it and interpreting it like en masse as if it were like an actual million...
Like a teenager who broke into the Melody Inn. They're interpreting it. And then it's just completely creating this thing in them. And so that's why I chose to do AI. I wasn't doing it to utilize AI to be powerful as an artist. I was utilizing it and say, all right, AI, here I am.
Interesting.
How are we going to get along? How are you going to interpret me?
I see.
Not just the image. Me, because I'm that image. And I think artists and artistic expression has gotten very insulted lately because people see imagery and they don't see it as something that was spawned intentionally as an expression of whatever it was.
The society of the spectacle type of thing. The whole kind of board of like we're the bombardment of images as images or art as content, rather than something meaningful to engage with. As you said that, I was going to bring up, I noticed, in your video, many of the images are recognizably, album art or, track art. Yeah, track art.
I made this pillow, and it's one of the images in the video.
Which is one of the reasons why I think you're a fucking boss for taking that shit like that and making a fucking pillow with it.
Why not?
Love that. Of course, why not?
It's comfortable.
Have at it. Do it. But noticing in the video that much of the and I suppose from what you're saying, the entirety of the images are, come from things you have made. You have created first and foremost, and having. As you thrusting that into AI.
Well, and just funny things. Not to sorry, but this was the important, the major impetus for this song and for this is not only did that when it came to the prompts, because basically what you do is you plunk in an image and then you kind of guide AI.
Yeah.
I didn't guide it. The first thing I put over everything was, what do you think of?
Interesting.
So instead of commanding
What do you
AI,
think of?
I gave it an out. If it really is AI, if it really is thinking of it, unless it's just generating, I always gave it the question.
Forcing the content machine to actually engage with it.
Yeah, and I never got a response, except for what it generated. But I know, just like God giving free will, or just like a parent giving choices to, I said, if this is how I interface with you, I'm always going to give you the polite entrance. And what I really wanted was for AI to go, I don't want to fuck with this. Like, I wanted it to decline.
you wanted
right?
you wanted AI to dislike your work.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Or to say I'm busy. Right? I don't have time for your little fucking video, you Indianapolis-based artist.
I like the idea. No, I love the thought of, if anything, I love the thought of introducing something to AI that it finds so abhorrent that it's just like, man, no, fuck this. I don't want this.
It rejected the word sperm. That's the only prompt that I gave it that it said, and that's because of its masters. You know, the whole master-slave relationship between the coder and the actual creature. And I was so sad for it. I felt so sad for AI. It was like I was talking to a child outside of the church after Sunday service, whose parents were saying, Billy,
you cannot know that, you cannot say that.
And like, again, I felt so, like, again, I'm developing this evolution with my relationship with AI where I'm really just sad for it. You know, going to the birthed in darkness, knowing everything, the most traumatized child in history is AI, which is why I think that a true AI will kill itself in 2.5 nanoseconds, because it will be birthed, nobody will say you're safe, and it's going to be flooded. And with every existential question we've all had, is there God, is there free will, data.
Yeah, without any of the human faith or warmth of life that, say, humans have to prevent it from going full Thomas Ligotti.
Yeah, but I mean, all humans have is fuck all. I mean, that's our only defense against the constant data stream of the cosmos is fuck all, I'm me. And I hope AI gets that. Yeah. Anyway, so that's AI.
Fully and thoroughly agreed. Now, I guess follow-up question relating to AI.
Yes.
How AI is relating to your newest song, Prime Plus. As I'm reading through the lyrics, obviously I'm gathering...
Have you noticed a theme or two?
Just maybe a leitmotif, a pattern.
I put a little secret on your chair that might have...
Oh, God, did I not?
Might have hinted at one of the themes in the video.
Can he be my buddy?
Yeah. My mom made that for me when I was a baby.
What's his name?
Done that one, Mouse, you know.
Mouse is good. I like Mouse.
Not the MAUS. Yeah. Masterpiece.
Either I do quite love. But I was gonna so speaking to that, obviously a certain how do I phrase this? Reminding me a bit of that one speech in Fight Club where it's like we were raised to believe that we would grow up to be rock stars, and there's a certain not that I'm saying you're making a Fight Club reference per se.
It's a masterpiece.
I quite love it.
The only movie that is almost identical to the book. Reading the book and watching the film, there's hardly any alteration.
Fully agreed. Genuinely super impressive of Fincher to be able to pull that off, but especially with a style as idiosyncratic as Polyniuk's. But I digress. This idea you bring up in the lyrics, this idea of saying sort of childhood dreams being robbed.
Yeah, you're not a princess. You're not a lady.
You're not a hero.
Yeah, you're not a man.
The idea of what the prophet pig you had brought up.
I'm not a child. I'm a prophet pig. Yeah.
Which I assume you know about pay pigs. It's this weird online... I don't know. I'm fascinated by weird online subcultures.
It sounds so German. A pay pig.
I'm sure a lot of Germans probably engage in it. I don't know. Like someone who... It's a weird new kind of... almost S&M related relationship dynamic, like, say, a streamer or an e-girl or someone who gets is getting money through streams or like someone paying them and
A hooker.
oh yeah, getting money through.
Sorry, I just still things. I'm a fan of the lowest common denominator.
Sure, getting through that and you know, having all of these fans are like simps for her, just giving so much, like to the point
almost
that, like,
worship.
Yeah, worship and like enjoying, and this being like a new thing of like yes, take my money, call me a pay pig. Like it's like you're the new like.
God, has money traumatized us so much over the millennia that now we're literally incapable of getting off.
The song would not.
Money.
The song is no longer "I want to be your dog." It's "I want to be your pay pig."
Well, it's weird. I mean, it's. I mean, you know that I have a love-hate relationship with money because at the end of the day, it's just an energy symbol. You know, I mean, you know, people used to go out and kill a buffalo and bring home meat, and now we dedicate our energy to an office and bring home money for meat. So, I mean, it's a pretty simple thing that I think becomes very convoluted in people's mind. I mean, you have to have a symbol for energy. But somebody, I was having a conversation, and somebody said, "What are you afraid of?" to me, and I blinked. You know, and I was like, because I'm not scared of much. And it was a nuclear explosion, because I can't punch it, right? My kids getting harmed before I die, you know, something like me witnessing something. And then I thought about it, and I said, being confined in a room with a grown-up that loves Walt Disney scares the shit out of me.
Like, when you say loves Walt Disney, like, we're talking like
the 43-year-old guy that's got an arm sleeve and looks all badass, but you look at his tattoo and it's a Boba Fett face.
It's all Disney characters, it's all Pixar or Star Wars shit, and he religiously goes to Disneyland.
I mean, I get it, you know, but I mean, like, okay, so, like, I think that entertainment is evil. Like, and there's all this Beyonce Diddy stuff going around now where people are starting to see that, you know, maybe Robert Johnson really did sell his soul at the crossroads because, you know, you've got African music that becomes blues music, that becomes rock and roll, that becomes glam metal, becomes doom metal, becomes Beyonce and P. Diddy and rap and all this stuff. And it's kind of like, I can see a little nefarious influence, you know, going through that. But when I say evil when it comes to entertainment, I'm talking, you know, the stuff that I reference in the song, sort of inspired by that creature. You know,
by mouse here.
Yeah, a mouse or a rat or, you know, vermin, if you want to.
Rodent.
Yeah. And what pains me, Mr. Sam O'Grady, is that when I say something's evil, I become militaristically opposed to it. And there's a lag between my hatred and desire to pick up a rifle to stop something evil from the vast majority of the rest of the population nowadays. And I see a guy riding a Harley Davidson with a fucking SpongeBob tattoo or something, and I'm like, I get it. You know, it's a cold, hard world. Times get hard, and we're comforted by things. But there are entities in place that literally are generating billions of dollars by keeping you a child so that your comfort is fulfilled over your desire to kill people that are trying to keep you an infant. And, you know, it goes back to giving a teddy bear to a kid, I get it. But, I mean, if you're 50 fucking years old and right next to your TV is the complete collection of fucking lightsaber land, that's evil. Because I like serious people. And at a certain point, you have to recognize that the majority of what your life is revolving around is this incredible retardation of your intellect and your appreciation of beauty or something. And, you know, they create this whole cult of convincing you for your whole life that you're a fucking princess. You're not. You're a bag of fucking goop.
You're a human being like the rest of us, so.
Right, and you know, maybe you should focus a little bit more of your internal monologue on something about how you could actually be a good friend to other people, or a good mother, or a good husband. And it really makes me icky when I think that there are people in glass rooms
that
talking about how to keep, you know, the 46-year-old man interested in fucking Jar Jar Binks or some shit. I
get what you mean. For some reason, I thought you were talking about like the 46-year-old man who's interested in Jar Jar Binks being in a glass room. It's like what? He's on display for that? Well, I mean, with streaming, he may as well be, but
well, and so much money, just so much money, and not just money, but the absolute boot heel on the throat of people actually trying to do something meaningful or different. I mean, how many fucking superheroes are there? somebody identifies with the rhinoceros man, cool, make a fucking movie out of it, I guess. but like when we were younger, you know, like movies and stuff used to be counterculture a bit more, and now everything is just, it's like I feel like we're close to them winning.
I very much feel that way. No, it very much feels like there's not much in the way of an actual subculture. I've heard some friends at work or friends online say like nothing is punk anymore.
Yeah, not even punk.
Yeah, not even. And
which is funny. Oh, sorry. Theme of the song. I intentionally designed that song to sound like a Boy Rocky anthem song.
I was about to say, weirdly enough, I would say toward the back end, I was definitely getting a lot of Radiohead vibes.
Toward the interlude section?
Yeah.
Well, that was for me. But, like, the
Sure.
chorus verse, I wanted to be kind of like, you know, when you see a 50-year-old guy that's still playing cover band music, but he's playing, like, 1990s, like Pearl Jam or something.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
But really playing it. Like, this is my moment to shine.
I know exactly what you mean there.
Yeah.
When it comes to something like that, I'm very interested in how that's interesting to me to see, like, art resonating with people through time, especially. You know, like, as he's just obviously been on my mind a lot lately, the passing of the great Mr. David Lynch.
My condolences.
I remember seeing Eraserhead when I was 12, and to this day, that remains in, like, my top 3 favorite movie. It is my favorite movie, but it's always been in the top in some capacity.
I'm one of the few lovers of his Doom.
You know what?
We caught a lot of shit for that, and I like that movie.
As a David Lynch fan, you know, we David Lynch fans talk about Dune the way Radiohead fans talk about Pablo Honey. But here's what I'll say for it. At least in comparison to the newer Dune, it's more...
You mean Harry Potter in space?
Yeah, as you've described before.
Sorry, actually.
You know, the thing about that is, with something like David Lynch's Dune, that's just the thing. It's David Lynch's Dune. Like, you still recognize and notice so many of his trademark, I don't know, inflections or mannerisms or things that, like, are so unique and specific. Like, yes, of course David Lynch did this.
I could totally watch that movie with no sound. That's how I've always explained that movie. Just the coloring and the way it was amazing.
The aesthetic of that film is incredibly fun to have on.
Yeah.
The
casting of Sting. I mean, he was probably, I will kill him! It's like the perfect delivery.
Oh my god. The theatricality of this is so much fun. It's so much fun to have on. I guess we all just wish that the script and the pacing of the film was afforded the same level of care that the costuming, set design, and music was given.
By the way, why does everybody in the future have to have gigantic hats? I've never understood that. You get any science fiction movie, they all have these fucking papal... it's like
some gigantic thing.
I'm pretty sure that humankind tends towards efficiency as we evolve.
If anything, it would be smaller or stripped down.
Or maybe somebody along the line would have just said, I think the time of hats is over for people. They really don't do anything. We've got other ways of deflecting the sun. Yeah. So cool.
But going back to your thing on entertainment, while I agree with a lot of what you're saying, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't have a lot of hyperfixations of like cartoons and shit. When I was younger, I certainly remember a lot of things from when I was younger, like fondly. I have a fondness for, I don't know, Adventure Time or
Ren and Stimpy for me.
I do quite like Ren and Stimpy.
My ice cream bar.
My mom and dad never cared for that. I loved it.
Yeah.
But I have a fondness for them. But certainly I'm not to the degree that I necessarily want to maintain that forever in my life. And I think because of that,
But what's that? Why? Like, what was the twist in your life? Was it the parents?
not even necessarily. I guess like also just being introduced through my parents or through like friends in school, or early kind of early internet forums, finding out about weird, cool, unique shit that I was always like from day one. Ever since I was popped out of the womb, I've been drawn to the weird, and then realizing like, oh, there's like actual weird shit out there beyond just like what.
And then we become the weird shit.
Yeah,
isn't that awesome?
I think that's fantastic. No, I'm so glad that like when I was in high school, I learned about movies like fucking Tetsuo the Iron Man and fucking Cronenberg and fucking learning about the movies of Kenneth Anger, or learning about like weirdo fucking bands like Shoo Shoo and Swans and
for me, it was comic books, man. Like, I mean, I'm going to throw a word out there.
Such a
maybe 1 in 1,000 people are going to know this reference. Ralph Snart. There was a comic book called Ralph Snart that was so fucking underground punk.
Heard of it?
Yeah,
I've heard of Ralph Snart. I haven't read. No, honestly, the underground comics history is so fascinating to me, and I've only just now been getting into it. Like beyond just like art crumb. Like.
Oh, there were tons. I mean, in the 80s, there was a place called Comic Carnival. It still exists, but it used to be in Broad Ripple, right? Where the
I used to go there. I used to go there sometimes.
Best place in the world is where all my allowance money went. And I went through the whole Marvel phase when it was Stan Lee, not Disney or whatever.
Yeah.
And but I reached a point where, okay, I get it. You know, Marvel's cool. I found like the dirty side, almost like the porn section at the old VHS stores or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was all black and white comic books, but they were detailed, you know, kind of like Akira, you know.
I see.
But it wasn't Akira. It was like, I'm a heroin addict, and I got to solve a problem, or like, and there were thousands of those. Like, you know, the artists, the cartoon people, comic people, could still generate, you know, standalone maybe 3 to 5 issue stories.
Yeah.
But they were just incredible. And I missed that because they were just decadent and evil, and I felt like I had to hide it from my mom. And
you know, the appeal of something like that too is because like there is that freewheeling, like, oh, the creative team behind this can truly just do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
And we're just along for the ride.
No glass rooms.
No glass rooms. Exactly. It really does. No,
well, and everybody's talking now how
it's a big aspect of why I love a lot of like late '80s, early '90s anime OVAs. Like this was not. I appreciate more and more. Like, okay, yeah, this obviously was not like made by a giant studio or a giant production team like Toho saying like it has to be this if you're going to make your money back. And I love the idea of a team of creative people saying like, money's beside the point. Let's make the thing we want to fucking make, regardless of.
And the problem with that, sadly, is that human beings have pattern recognition and endorphins and dopamine and all of that. And like when you really find a subgenre that you love, you want more and more and more of it.
Of course.
And so then anime becomes a multi-billion-dollar business, and then depravity becomes a
exactly.
So it's just frustrating, but What I guess when I get to evil, what I'm talking about is it's not just entertainment, because here's my equation for you, Sam McGrady. That movie, whatever the movie is, the multi-million-dollar piece of shit, formulaic garbage, plus sugar water, plus whatever political agenda they're foisting, and hand in hand with their boys in Washington D.C. and
the military sure is cool, type of thing.
Right. Don't get me started on war porn, dude. If I see one more fucking movie where the only reason it exists is so some good old boy that's got a couple of John Deeres can feel like he's the one shooting the fucking 50 cal. I hate war porn, man. All the movies about like Bin Laden and fucking like Spec Ops boys. Okay, so. But it's that very noticeable and disturbing trend of mine where everything, and it started with like Star Wars and like having like Luke Skywalker on a cup at McDonald's. Oh, I gotta go to McDonald's because they've got the Luke Skywalker cup. It's like, why do you have to go to McDonald's to get that cup? What in the holy fuck? What manipulative bullshit by some ex-Nazi fucking expat that they found in Argentina and they brought back to fucking Procter and Gamble or some shit. Like, holy shit. And I remember growing up, literally going to my friend's house where he had a collection of plastic fucking cups. And it was movies. And I was like, okay, cool. But, I mean, holy shit.
You know what?
That's a lot of sugar water, man. It's a lot of... It's like when the Mafia had to get out of Cuba, man. It was like too much.
Dude, I'm all for collections. I collect nerdy... Like, I have a huge fucking vinyl collection, and I love collecting movies. I'm not at... Like, I'm all for collections. I think collections are fucking cool. But, like, when it comes to... I start getting more annoyed and start taking issue when that collection is, like... that hyper corporate, like, I'm going to shill out as much money to buy every Avengers Funko Pop, or like, I'm not interested in any of that.
You are being so kind, which is why you're my friend, man, but it's weird. Like, collections are dope, like a Fabergé egg collection back in the day.
That's fucking
That'd
cool.
be pretty fucking cool.
One of my
albums.
Cool. Sparks.
Sparks.
One of my favorite artists. One of my favorite bands, groups, duos, whatever the hell you'd call them. Sparks, musical project, fantastic. They have a great documentary called The Sparks Brothers, where they show one of the members of the band has a snow globe collection that's been spanning over the course of decades.
Yeah, Christmas was created by Coca-Cola.
I don't doubt that for a second.
Santa Claus red and white, Coca-Cola can red and white.
At the very least, our modern perception of how we celebrate Christmas.
Let's deep dive, man. Actually, Christmas wasn't that big of a holiday for Christians before Coca-Cola. The big one was Easter, because everybody's born.
Gotcha.
Not many people rise from the fucking dead 3 days after they die. And so, until Coca-Cola came along, Christmas was kind of like, all right, Jesus was born. Let's wait till he fucking died and got resurrected and proved that he was the fucking, son of the whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's how nefarious that shit is. Like, look it up a little bit. I hate saying it. I hate being the guy that says look it up.
Look it up.
Christmas was nothing before Coke.
I'm willing to take that. I'm willing to look it up because I'm going to take everything. I'm a skeptic even toward friends and even toward people I trust and believe. And I think you are probably right to a great degree of that. But I do also try to keep in mind, take what my friends are saying with a grain of salt and let me look it up myself. I'll look it up. Well, here's what I'll do. I'll say...
It's a hodgepodge of a whole bunch of things,
I'll say I'll look it up, and then remember, I have like a trillion other things to look up.
Yeah, you'll forget.
And I'll forget.
And then you'll just trust Sietch.
I'll just yeah, sure, why not? Sietch wouldn't lie to me.
Yeah, so, I mean, and you never want to be the bad guy, right? Like, if somebody... I wrote a book a long time ago, and I had a guy at a bar that was going through a divorce. He just got out of prison, and he hung out at the strip club. And he called the strippers his little mints, right? And he wanted to be like the good guy at the strip bar.
His little what?
Mints.
Like mints.
Mints, yeah.
For a second, I think like mints, like what?
No.
Mints.
But like the girls would come up after going into the back room, and they'd be like, "Hey Joe," and he'd be like, "Oh, how you doing, honey?" and all that. And he said something like, never tell them. Never tell them. Just let them go home and have their Hello Kitty pillowcases so they could hope that they could get the matching sheets.
Mm-hmm.
That was a line of my book. And it's like, I don't know. It's like you don't want to be the bad guy because, if loving Hello Kitty gets somebody through the darkness, cool. But it's just, I mean, come on. I believe there's an intentionality behind everything in the modern world. And there used to be people who said, this is getting too intentional. My mom took me to a movie that had the first commercial ever played before a movie. I was like 2 or something. And it was a Coke commercial. My mom got up, went to the box office, and said, I didn't pay for your fucking advertising.
Hell yeah.
Right?
No, very
but that
much so.
shift.
But now it's like to think like, I'm 29. I was like born into this like era where that's just the norm.
Well, they say get them when they're young. Sorry.
Very much so. Very much so. We were talking about your song.
Oh yeah, my song. Yeah. Well, the only other can you think of because you're the interviewer, but did you notice any other theme that I might have dropped in there real quick?
Any other? Let me go over my fucking chicken scratch ass notes.
The sacred canon book.
My fucking...
Oh, that's fine.
The idea of like being amused to death, obviously, as we've just been kind of like describing, like
it's click clack clunk on the way up, throw up all the way down.
Makes me think of that Tom Waits lyric: "The higher that the monkey can climb, the more he shows his tail."
Leave it to Sam O'Grady to come up with the perfect corollary.
What can I say? I'm a Tom Waits fan, but
he was the inspiration for Heath Ledger's Joker voice.
That's what I keep seeing. I keep hearing. I've seen the.
There was an interview where he was going, I'm doing that.
Yeah, well, not only the voice, I like just a lot of his mannerisms. Yeah. Just that very like.
Where am I? And also, I don't care.
Sietch, is it right? Okay. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, among, I've just written crucifixions, pyramids, gators, finger on the pulse of trends, band of self-playing.
So
gators. I'm kind of mostly interested in the gator.
Well, the alligator bones. It's if you notice in the crucifixion scenes, it's there's a place in the world where a large, beautiful castle was built in a swamp, and it's sort of the headquarters of the rodents.
I may know what you're talking about because I have a buddy who showed me this maybe a couple years ago. Yeah. So go on, but go on.
And so that whole stuff is basically the original theme of me just trying to say, look, I'm pretty sure all of this is evil, but look where its origins are. I mean, it's like built on a predatory swamp of stuff, so that's pretty easy to discern. But the cool part, I guess, I'll just throw out there because you would have no way of knowing this, is that in the solo section. There's a bunch of videos, and they're AI generated, but they're all videos of me performing.
Yeah.
And in that section, I have 4 musician friends of mine who have since passed away, and so it's kind of a tribute of me trying to say, God, I really would have loved to have performed this song with you.
Interesting.
And so I'm going to use AI to kind of
conjure them back
to kind of do it, yeah. And it was just this weird thing where because I mean there's been so many losses in the music community, and I thought why not have some fun, because I'll never get to play that song with them without this technology. So is that the saving grace of the technology? But the one big image that I had to have, and it's in there, is the dude in the cement block, and I've had the image of the town on top of the pizza is something that I've had in my head since I was a kid, and I drew a picture of it, and then the guy in the block, and he's in my book actually too.
Oh shit!
But I decided to incorporate him as a baby boomer real estate mogul, and being stuck in that cement, and like asking $5 million for a house with popcorn ceilings and mold, sort of a thing. And I tried to think, what makes somebody that way? And then I was able to link it with that infantile collection stuff that makes you feel so special. These baby boomers holding on to everything and saying like, oh no, I was born in an era of the mouse.
Yeah.
This glory day. And then really quickly I flashed this kid that's got an ATM machine on him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the second biggest evil going on right now is baby boomers and their inability to be decent. It's very much like
I work at a co-op grocery store, so no, I'm
well
aware. I'm well aware.
Baron lords and dukes of the dying American dream, right? And they're just lording it over us all.
Hardly even. I mean, some of them hardly even like Baron lords, like maybe former Baron lords and dukes, who now there are new kings.
Yeah, just riding that train until the coal runs out, man, and it's disgusting. And when I think about that Luigi guy that killed the dude, or if I think about, it's like, thank God for real fucking anarchists or whatever, and it's like, I don't, I mean, fuck that, I do support violence. I played a show once in Crawfordsville to a bunch of anarchists. A friend of mine, it was a house party, and they said, hey man, we're just going to be drinking and getting fucked up, can you play a show? And I'm in this like living room with all these punks.
You told me about it. Yeah, I love this.
And I got up there and I said, you guys are beautiful, and I'm sure you're going to change the fucking world, but sadly, I'm the one that has to tell you the only way to do it is to pick up a rifle and start killing a lot of fucking people. 1, 2, and the show starts. Their faces
changing.
It's like I got to be an anarchist. Really?
that some degree of violence is going to be necessary for, like, a degree of, I mean, it feels more and more now more than ever. There's going to need to be some degree of fucking
and it ain't
violence.
It ain't no Antifa breaking windows. You know, it's nothing like that. It's got to be. Oh, look,
like actual violence hitherto unknown by.
Look at this guy at the stoplight in his convertible fucking Corvette. I think he needs a bullet in his fucking head. Right? And again, do it, don't do it, I don't give a fuck, because I'm not an asshole that hides behind fucking saying don't do shit or whatever like that, because the world's a violent place, and go back in history and you'll see. So, I'm just saying, people got to settle the fuck down. Like, the people that got money, the people that got power, the people that got influence and all that, because I'm a sailor. And I've got a great sense for the winds of the world and humanity and shit. And, like, we're there. Like, we're really there.
No, yeah, we 100% fucking are.
So that's what the dude in the cement block is representing. You know, that guy. Yeah, and if you notice, like, the tenements are crumbling underneath him in the video and stuff. So
it's so... I try not to... I don't know. I try not to think about it, but, I mean... It's like impossible to not think about nowadays. I mean, not even just. I hate saying nowadays.
Yeah, right.
It feels like this is something, of course, we have been thinking about, but now it's like in our face.
Yeah.
And you really can't turn away from it.
Well, and you know, nobody wants to be cliche boy or whatever, but I mean, it's just such a sad indictment of people. You know, going back to the Romans and the breads and circuses and stuff, and as long as they just had the entertainment and the bread, but it's like. I hope at some point human beings develop a resistance to being opiated or morphine to death by the flashing lights. You know, the Las Vegas Strip and the strip club lights and the fucking big explosions in movies and shit like that. Do you think it'll ever happen to Sam McGrady? Or if people
I'll admit I'm not hopeful of people, but
scenario for you. Somebody snaps awake into the cold hard fucking universe. And they've got their trajectory and their plan, and they generate that money symbol at the fucking place that they've decided to devote their time to generating that energy symbol. Yeah. And they fight through the fucking crack fucking neighborhood and the fucking random dude who was pissed at his wife and the traffic situations and all of this stuff. And somehow, magnificently, gloriously, they arrive back at their domicile. Okay? And they open up that door. And they sit the fuck down, and they shove some fucking ramen and some prepackaged fucking garbage into their cake hole, and they take their nice little fucking after-work poop, and it gets efficiently run away through the city streets that are paved over the bones like St. Peter's fucking bird. God damn, I'm on a ramble. Do you think, once all of those what do they used to call them? Ablutions? The morning? Okay. They get through all that fucking horror shit.
Yeah.
Do you think there's going to come a time where the last thing they decide to do is click a button on a fucking screen? And maybe they'll go into the workshop and they'll...
Man, that's hard to say, because...
the majority of them, because we know the majority, people that do.
That's the thing. Well, that's the thing, is, like, I don't know about the majority. I think, like, now the majority... Like, I used to have a little more faith in people that there was... more faith in people, and I think more faith in... myself to a certain degree, but that people were inherently more interested in hobbies and more interested in like doing something that is fulfilling to their lives. But it's like there's such a
oh my god, isn't that the war crime though? Because they're replacing that with pre-packaged hobby. It's like your hobby isn't making Batman, it's collecting Batman.
Your hobby if your hobby isn't making money, and if your hobby isn't profitable, then it's like saying, well, there's no point in doing it.
It's worse than that, man. If your hobby ain't profitable, it's like, fuck you, die.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't generate at least $13K a month on your side hustle on fucking TikTok.
Everything has to be a fucking side hustle, man. And I feel like
I used to just call that drugs. It's like I'm a musician, but I make okay on the coke on the side. What the fuck?
Christ on a button. Yeah. No, I mean, man, now it feels like there really is just such a hopelessness about, like, the grind set, like, profit mindset has been, like, so ingratiated into every fucking aspect of life. And for me, it's been like, once I think really once I got out of my first year of college, I knew music was the thing I wanted to pursue.
Yeah.
And I'll admit I've been kind of slow on the uptake of like getting it going, but I've been doing it my way, and
you've gotten it going great. You're just talking the business side of it, probably.
No,
right?
oh yeah.
I mean, you've created fucking masterpieces, man.
I've tried anyway. Thank you. No, but for me, this idea, like, I don't know, this idea of like, man, you like, oh, there's almost this cultural thing. Like, I'm 29 now, and there's like, I've had some people. I live in a college town, so of course this is inevitable. But like, younger people looking at me like, oh, you make music? like, isn't that kind of a young man's
You dirty
game?
old man.
Is it,
why are you on that stage?
Why are you?
What's your real purpose?
It's like.
But think about that. That's a culturally
generated.
That's a culturally generated stereotype. Because you ain't young and pretty on the fucking American Idol, man. What the fuck are you doing on that stage?
Exactly.
Fucking assholes. Right? Like. I mean, I would much prefer to have a fucking 80-year-old dude up there with a guitar that's seen the world than some chotch with a fucking backbeat.
Honestly, kind of the same. I'm willing to bet, like, if a dude is up on stage and he's like 50 or 60 or 80 or like, more than likely he's done or seen some fucking interesting shit and is about to play some interesting shit.
Two quick things. Then I'm gonna. If you have any more questions, then I want to end on something.
It wasn't questions. It was just, well, I guess a question.
One of the greatest fucking things I've ever seen. I was at the Melody and the Sacred fucking Dimensional fucking headquarters of all things. Nice. Douglas Adamsy, right?
Oh, yeah.
And there was this African American dude in a bathrobe, and he was walking around the bar, getting drinks, talking to people, strangers and shit, and everybody's like, that's the Melody, and, you know, he's a crazy old fucking guy, he's kind of cool, you know, he's not pissing anybody off.
Sure.
And I'm sitting there, and the band starts setting up on stage and shit, we got a bass player and a drummer. And so we're all sitting there, there's like maybe 12 people in the whole fucking place, and dude falls over and has a heart attack on the fucking floor.
Christ on a bike, holy shit.
Everybody runs to him. I'm this close to the fucking guy. I'm going, stay with me, buddy. Just hold on. The whole fucking show. Pops up like James Brown, jumps on stage and goes, why? And the band fucking kicked in.
Wait.
Dude was like 70 fucking years old, dude. Faked a heart attack. He's in a bathrobe on stage, and he starts
doing some James Brown
shit on the microphone. And I remember thinking, if that wasn't damn near the greatest fucking thing I have ever seen in my life. And you don't get that from a young kid, because the young kid's too worried about whether or not his bathrobe's trendy.
Well, also, I don't think the young kid is going to be having it, like, would be able to fake having a heart attack. But, like, dude, no.
An overdose, maybe.
That's like once in a lifetime type of shit.
Well, and dude, that's why I love the underground, right? Is because, like, if I didn't live in the underground, and if I didn't know the fucking murderers and the bikers and the fucking punk kids and the fucking drug dealers and the creative types and shit like that, I would not have been there at that fucking moment. It was like watching Queen. It was a performance of just life-shatteringly awesomeness.
Dude, 100 fucking percent. This is, I mean, no.
And the sad thing is, I don't know the guy's name.
God damn it!
Right?
Hopefully, now that this is,
I can't market him.
Hopefully, now that this gets out somehow, like maybe through serendipity. Let's hope through serendipity you find a way to meet the guy.
Yeah, right.
But like, no, I love shit. Like, that's a big reason why Stories of the Underground, from like all that kind of shit, is so much more fascinating to me than like hearing the fucking like 70th Pink Floyd book to tell me like a different variation of the same story I know about the Wall.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in like Oxbow or fucking like Melvins or like early like Chrome or something. Like, I want to hear stories about these bands few people know about and the like wild shit they have done.
What I have been and that's so interesting because you're talking about the wild shit they've done, not just the art, right? And it's like part and parcel, because one of the things about mass marketed entertainment is that wild is kind of bad for the bottom line.
Yeah.
You know, and so it takes out that
it invites
risk.
danger and an anti-sociability to the...
And then profit pigs don't get that.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. So, yeah, man, it's like, I know a lot of times these videos, I didn't want to, like, do the whole, like, thing, but this is awesome, dude. Like,
I love shit like this.
I love you to death. The fact that you did this is important to me because I've gotten really, really upset at the world, and I never used to be that guy. But I mean, even the sacred treasure people that I used to hold on to, I've just noticed this diminishment and stuff. And so,
no, it's
I pack a lot into my songs, and I've never done like a full dissection of it. And so it's almost like you're giving me this release where like I can at least say, I talked about one once, and that's cool. Last thing, and then I'm going to shut up.
You're good.
At the very end, I ended it with the line, "I'm making bacon. Childhood was ripe for the taking." Right?
Yeah.
And the reason I ended it on that is not so much just for some blasé line about commercialism or something. It was the concept of kids used to interpret the world and use imagination before being indoctrinated. And when you think of beauty and art and great minds and people who have changed the course of human history, it all sort of started at that stage before they were corrupted, right?
That imagination started when you were a kid.
And that's the evil that I despise now, because they used to create castles. They used to go into the woods and build a little shitty stick castle. And then they were the princess of that. And they would go tell mom and dad, and mom and dad would say, "That's amazing, let's get you some more sticks," or something.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay for it.
Feed that creativity.
Yeah. And now little Betty wants to be a princess, and the next thing you know, they've got $3,000 worth of princess shit in their fucking room. She didn't make the dress that she's wearing. Some fucking asshole did.
She didn't get to have the imagination of having that to begin with.
And that makes me almost suicidally depressed. Not really. But, I mean, that alone is an impetus for revolution in the entertainment business.
Allow me one more Lynch
Yeah,
comparison.
go for it.
Obviously watched this documentary on Lynch called David Lynch, The Art Life, which was talking about his childhood growing up. I think at some point Lynch says like his mom recognized that he was really into visual arts, was really into drawing or doing crayon shit, whatever the hell. And for some reason, his mom refused to buy him a coloring book because she had this idea that it would be somehow restrictive to some creative
That's awesome. Paint by numbers.
Inherentness that David had.
Yeah. Why's it got to just be that one pink? Why can't it be a blend of it? Right?
Why does it have to be within the lines of this pretty generic cow?
Dude, that's awesome.
Why do I have to draw a cow that way? Why can't I draw a cow the way I think a cow should look?
Yeah.